Munich is becoming a place where the West speaks with one voice. The current security model is coming to an end, and Europe must take greater responsibility for its own defense. This is no longer a debate about the future, but about urgent adaptation to a new geopolitical reality. NATO countries openly admit that the burden of deterrence must be shared differently than before.
We trust US. We trust US because we trust the NATO, this organization. United States remain the leader of the NATO, no matter do we take the military equipment or we take financial burden. The United States keeps the financial burden of the NATO. And what we need to do, we have to contribute to NATO more.
And even though the U.S. administration was under diplomatic fire just a few months ago, today even Berlin admits that Europe has neglected its own security for years. This burden sharing has been long overdue. In recent years, Europeans have done too little for their own conventional defense. Now we will make up for that. Such a division stabilizes the alliance. NATO must become more European in order to remain transatlantic. The NATO Secretary General makes it clear Europe is arming itself, but in close cooperation with the U.S., and no one today believes that the Americans will abandon the old continent. Washington remains the pillar of the alliance's defense capabilities.
And we have all the plans in place, as you know, to make sure over the coming years, with the huge investments now taking place, as I said, the Germans doubling their defense spending, the new Dutch government committing to reach as fast as possible the 5%, including the 3.5% core defense spending. What is happening in Poland? Well, I could mention all the allies. Canada back, really stepping up. So we'll, over the coming years, get more and more. We will more and more see a NATO more European-led, but at the same time, the U.S. absolutely anchored in the organization.
Listening to politicians in Munich, it is not difficult to notice that for the first time in years, apart from the need for action, there's talk today of agency. Impersonal defense and deterrence are materializing in the form of specific tasks for specific countries.
The old world is gone, frankly, the world I grew up in, and we live in a new era in geopolitics, and it's going to require all of us to sort of re-examine what that looks like and what our role is going to be.
A new security order is being built in the shadow of the war in Ukraine, a real test of the West's resilience. The bombing of residential areas and the killing of civilians has sobered up elites who are convinced of the unshakable peace in Europe. On the other hand, the war itself is a daily source of information for NATO intelligence.
And what I will also be doing today and tomorrow is make clear that the Russians are not winning this, as some are thinking. This so-called Russian beer is not there. It is basically a stilted speed of a garden snail, what we are seeing in Ukraine. This is how the Russians are moving inside Ukraine. Very slow, staggering losses. Tens of thousands a month, 35,000 dead in December, 30,000 dead in January. So these are the facts, and therefore we have to keep Ukraine strong, because what we see is that they make the best use of our support.
But even so, the Ukrainian military is warning Europe that war is not just a theoretical scenario for reservist exercises.
Change or die, the slogan of today's exhibition. But it's not a slogan for Ukraine. It's warning for Europe. You need to prepare yourself before war comes to you. And in this, we Ukrainians are the best partners for you, because we already live in the future of war. And we pay for this the highest price, the lives of Ukrainian peoples.
NATO is expanding its deterrence in the Arctic through the Arctic Sentry program, a response to Russia's activity and China's growing interest in this strategically important region. It is also a change in narrative regarding attacks on the United States, which for many months has been drawing attention for the threats in the Greenland region. This year's Munich conference is a significant announcement of a reset in thinking about security, mainly in Europe. NATO is returning to the language of deterrence, and the idea for which it was created in the first place. Although not long ago, there were those who predict the end of the alliance. In turn, the world is receiving a clear signal that the time for strategic illusions is coming to an end.